This review is made possible by Gerald Kia in Naperville. Gerald's outstanding staff is ready to find the perfect car for you. Whether it be new or used, your next car is waiting for you at Gerald Kia.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2019 Kia Stinger GTS. Up front is a 3.3 liter twin turbocharged V6. Down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission.
This video is sponsored by CarMarshal.com. If you'd like to support the channel, click the link down in the description below. CarMarshal.com advertises for over 100,000 vehicles across the US.
But let's get back to that 3.3 liter twin turbo V6. It is not special to the GTS. The GTS is really just a nicer package. We get this nice orange color. We get this Alcantara steering wheel. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. This is the big old twin turbo V6, all-wheel drive. This thing, it does not mess around. If I'm going to drive a Kia Stinger, this is the one that I want to drive. We are going to put this into Sport. The windows down, they're still doing construction. But Sport, I'm gonna let the car shift itself. Here we go. Man, I wish that it barked at you. I wish that it snarled at you just a little bit more, but the speed is definitely there. No doubt at all about that. This thing is a very, very quick car. It's quite impressive. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Nothing really too crazy there. I mean, there is no manual option, and so for some enthusiasts, they might kind of thumb their nose and be like, oh, I only drive a stick shift. You don't need a stick shift in this car. This isn't really designed for canyon carving, and now in 2019, that's really the only reason to have a manual is for spirited, twisty-turny driving, at least in my opinion. Other than that, straight line speed, drivability, fun, automatics have them beat in almost every category. But last but not least, this is the all-wheel drive variant. They do, like I keep saying, they do have a rear-wheel drive version, but this is the all-wheel drive. This is the top dog. So let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 2 physical gauges. On the left is my tachometer as well as coolant, and on the right is speedometer and fuel. In the center, I do get a little screen displaying a couple different things. I have my drive mode, miles per hour, driver info, accumulated info, you know, all that stuff. Pretty basic Kia stuff in there. Then on the steering wheel, I do have voice controls, volume, my pages, cruise control. Again, pretty basic stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, I do have an Alcantara steering wheel, flat bottom steering wheel. I like it a lot. Normally I'm not a big fan of flat bottom steering wheels, but I don't really mind it here. And we do have a GT badge down below. To the left, I do have my blind spot monitoring, dimmer switches, and my fuel door. Then on the door, I just have my power folding mirrors, which I can turn to auto, which the mirrors are carbon fiber. That's part of the GTS package. Power windows, child locks, you know, all that stuff is found right here on the door. Then we come to the center screen, Apple CarPlay, satellite radio, Android Auto. Any car that has Apple CarPlay is probably going to have Android Auto as well. Navigation, Bluetooth, any sort of music or media that you would want, there is that in the Stinger. Really, really nice. It is touchscreen as well. Again, pretty basic Kia tech here in the center. Then I actually have 3 air conditioning and heating vents. I really like this. I like the layout of them. You know, it's 3 of them right across the board. It's very different. You don't usually see that in cheaper cars. Not saying that this is a cheaper car. I'm saying this feels nicer because of that. Then we do have some physical radio controls. We have radio, media, seek, track, map, navigation, setup, stuff like that. Very basic stuff. I like the tactile buttons. I always like having tactile buttons in the cars that I drive. Then I have the climate controls. Nothing too crazy here. Pretty standard climate controls by any means. I do have a wireless charging pad, a 12-volt outlet, aux in and USB in as well. And then we come to the shifter. I like the shifter. It's okay. It's nothing too crazy. It doesn't feel really expensive. It doesn't feel that exclusive. It just sort of feels like a regular shifter. But then down below that, we have a couple interesting buttons. We do have our power parking brake, auto hold. So this, when you toggle it and you press the brakes extra hard, you can take your foot off the brakes and the car will stay put. And then to disengage that, you just hit the gas again and start going again. Then we have the drive mode button. So we do have a couple different drive modes. We do have smart. So this will figure it out, whatever situation you're in, it'll sort of adjust accordingly. Eco, comfort, sport, and custom. This will be your custom settings if you want, you know, lighter steering, but better throttle, you know, whatever you want, you can set this in the car. We'll, of course, keep it in eco because we don't really need anything else. Then we have the traction control off button. And down below, we have a bunch of more buttons. Really nice features here. We have heated seats for both front occupants, 3 different levels of heated seats, which is absolutely great. Parking sensors, heated steering wheel, and auto start stop on and off. One of my favorite buttons in any car because I hate that feature with a passion. The seats are nice and comfortable. They do have decently high bolsters, high enough bolsters for a sporty car like this, but not high enough where they're uncomfortable. You know, some factory sports seats they're great for cornering, but they're uncomfortable driving day to day. That's not the case here. This is an absolutely comfortable car through and through. At the end of the day, it is comfortable, and that's what really matters. Last thing about the seats before we talk about the back seats is that the GT emblem is actually embossed into the leather. I think that is an awesome, awesome touch, and something you don't find in your base model Kia Stinger. Now we will do a back seat review. So we're in the back of the 2019 Kia Stinger GTS. Back seats aren't bad. It's a little awkward to get into, but other than that, seats are really nice. They are perforated leather. I do have a 12-volt outlet as well as a USB charger. Then I have 2 vents that I can sort of swivel around. 2 speakers in the door. I do get a little light here. 2 cup holders in the center console. Nothing really too crazy back here. I don't get any crazy amenities or crazy features, but it is a nice back seat. And so when you are going to do highway pulls or whatever it is you're going to do with your Stinger, you can bring 4 people along very, very comfortably. There is a 3rd seatbelt in the back. You can squeeze, you know, 3 people in the back if you really want to. But overall, it's a good back seat. I don't really have much more to say, but... And to finish out the interior, I do actually have a decently sized sunroof. It is power, which is super, super nice. I'm a big fan of that. You know, I think if you're going to spend the money, you should get a sunroof because I love sunroofs. So let's talk about the exterior. This is a GTS color. And part of the GTS package, most of the GTS package, is the wheels, the color, carbon fiber mirrors, carbon fiber accents. They are real carbon fiber. And overall, I love how much this thing stands out. It really does make a statement. And I think with a car like this, I would kind of want to make a statement. You don't really see Stingers all that much. And so, you know, you might want to stand out from the crowd. And I really, really like that. Overall, I think it's a fabulous looking car. I think it looks amazing. I love the color. Orange on black, a little bit of a Halloween color. I know Halloween just passed, but I kind of like it. I think it's actually pretty aggressive. And of course, this is a pretty exclusive color. Overall, I have to say I am really, really happy with the Kia Stinger GTS. The thing about it getting into this is that when this car was brand new, when Kia first announced the Stinger and released it to the public, a lot of journalists compared this car to the M3 or to an AMG from Mercedes. They compared them to these big names that have been around since the 80s. You know, 30 plus years of engineering and grit gone into those cars. And I think that really did a disservice to the Stinger, comparing them to those greats, because this is Kia's first attempt at a luxury fast sedan, sort of breaking into that market. This is their first draft. This is their first attempt. And if you look at anything in history, first attempts are always horrible. If you go back, this is my 276th review, I believe. If you go back and watch my first review, it's absolute garbage. The audio is missynced. I used a song throughout the whole video. I think it's in like 720p, if not even 480. I filmed it in the rain. My first attempt was absolutely horrible, and I'll be the first person to tell you that. My very first review was god awful. But this is Kia's first attempt at a sport luxury car, and they did a great job. I don't want to say that they nailed it. I don't want to say that this is a perfect car and that this will destroy the big names, but I would be absolutely happy to own this car. It is quick, it is comfortable, it's nice, it draws attention. That name, Stinger. I always complain about how cars these days don't have good names. You know, we don't have names like the Barracuda or the Fiero. But the Stinger, that has a good name. That is a good name. Sport mode again, mash the pedal. Oh my gosh. But again, I keep going back to that. This is the first time the GTS has been offered. This is the first time the Kia has offered the Stinger for a first draft. This car is great. It is amazing, and I cannot wait to see what Kia does with this in the future. Because if this is their starting point, amazing. You know, I recently drove a first-year Ford Mustang, and if that review isn't out already, it should be up soon. The very first Ford Mustang is slow. It's really slow. It doesn't corner well. It has a really high ride height. By all intended purposes, it's nothing like what the Mustang is today. It's not as brutal. It's not as cutthroat. And so that's why I have faith that the Stinger is going places. As long as they keep selling these, as long as people keep buying these, I cannot wait to see what Kia does next with these. I really can't. This is going to be a car to definitely keep your eye on in the coming years. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Gerald Kia for letting me take out their Stinger GTS. They actually pulled this off of the showroom floor. This is the only one that they have. So thank you very much for letting me take this thing out. This is quite the vehicle. Their information is up on the screen. Definitely go check them out. They have a couple lower trim level Stingers on the lot. They have this car on the lot. And of course, they can special order you whatever you want. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really like to. Take care, guys. Aside from my soul.